Now, I invite Her Excellency, Madame Annalena Baerbock, President of the UN General Assembly, to deliver her statement by thanking your attention and participation. Thank you.
Mr. Secretary General, Your Excellency Ambassador Yildiz, Mr. Under-Secretary General, Mr. Secretary General of the OIC, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Mubarak to all those observing. We gather today for the 4th commemoration of the International Day to Combat Islamophobia, proclaimed by the General Assembly on March 15, 2022. Through that decision, member states reaffirmed a clear principle. Discrimination or hatred directed at any community because of its religion has no place in our societies. This year's commemoration also comes at a moment of profound spiritual reflection for billions globally. Across Muslim communities, the holy month of Ramadan is being observed, a time marked by fasting from dawn to sunset, reflection, and acts of charity. Meanwhile, Christians across the world are observing Lent, a season of prayer, fasting, and contemplation leading to Easter. These traditions differ in their practices, yet they remind us of our shared values: humility, compassion, restraint, and respect for others. Those values resonate closely with the principles that guide the work of the United Nations and our General Assembly, as a forum where nations of different beliefs, cultures, and traditions can meet on equal footing, search for common ground, and work to strengthen the foundations of peaceful coexistence in respect and valuing diversity. Yet, the ideals we affirm here do not always reflect the realities many communities face. Across the world, Muslims continue to encounter discrimination, hostility, and sometimes even violence because of their faith. In some places, this appears as suspicion, directed at their names, their appearance or attire, or the way they pray. Even in our interconnected world today, such prejudice persists. And frankly speaking, I have to say myself that where I'm coming from, I've seen Muslim friends being discriminated against because of their name when trying to find a job or renting an apartment. Political rhetoric and false narratives misrepresent entire communities and deepen mistrust within societies. These dynamics are now amplified in the digital age. Technologies that are meant to connect us across borders are accelerating the spread of misinformation and prejudice at an unprecedented speed. As I noted last Monday with regard to the hate speech directed at women in the digital world, it is an incredibly important step that this General Assembly is addressing this issue head-on, including through the establishment of the Independent International Scientific Panel on Artificial Intelligence, to help counter the growing tendency for digital spaces to become vehicles for hatred instead of spaces for knowledge, understanding, and respectful exchange. And I encourage governments, international institutions, technology companies, and civil society to follow the example of the United Nations and play a proactive role in challenging harmful stereotypes while promoting accurate and responsible information. Fighting Islamophobia includes that we do not tolerate the misinterpretation of religion. Like any faith, Islam cannot be used as an excuse to violate Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which affirms the equal rights and dignity of men and women. One misuse of this by extremist groups, such as ISIS, Boko Haram, Al-Shabaab, and the Taliban, to cloak violence, exclusion, and denial of women's rights in religious dissatisfaction. Such actions contradict both international human rights and the teaching of Islam itself, and by this misrepresents the nearly 2 billion people around the world who follow the faith peacefully. As the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Sheikh Ahmed al-Tayyib, has warned in response to restriction on women's education in Afghanistan, I quote, "Such bans contradict the rights that Islam guarantees equally to women and men." Excellencies, ultimately standing up against Islamophobia is not only about defending one religious community. It is about defending our shared humanity, because discrimination never stops with one group. Whether it appears as Islamophobia, racism, anti-Semitism, sexism, homophobia, or any other form of hatred, it follows the same logic and leads to the same end: dehumanization. That is why it concerns all of us, and why we must act and take a firm stance against discrimination and Islamophobia whenever and wherever it appears. That means strengthening legal protection against religious hatred and discrimination against Muslims. It means investing in education that fosters tolerance and understanding across cultures and faiths. And it means working with international institutions, digital platforms, and civil society to prevent the spread of misinformation, prejudice, hate, and violence. From this hall, member states have the capacity to shape norms, promote dialogue, and reaffirm the fundamental principle that every individual deserves to live free from discrimination because of their faith. Because societies that uphold dignity, tolerance, and mutual respect are not only fairer, they are stronger, more stable, and more peaceful. Thank you, and Ramadan Mubarak.
I thank Her Excellency PGA for the statement.